Welcome, friends. Thank you for joining me for this yoga video for Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is a fire energy, and we'll be playing a little bit with that energy today in our practice to counter the cold season that's happening here in the northern hemisphere, if that's where you're practicing with me. Sagittarius is also a seeker of knowledge and freedom and is endlessly optimistic. So I invite you to consider these elements and think about how you can bring them into your practice and beyond. So we'll begin seated here in a comfortable position. You could sit up on a block or at some kind of extra support. Maybe put the back against the wall. We won't be here super long, but I just want you to be comfortable. And we're going to begin today's practice with some breath work, and I would like to just preface this by saying if you experience shortness of breath or are having some respiratory difficulties right now, maybe just skip this. This next movement. It's called Breath of Fire, and it is an intense but short breath work practice where we'll be breathing in and out very quickly using the diaphragm. If this is new to you, give it a try, see how it feels, and if this is something you know that you're not going to be able to do right now, I encourage you instead to just focus on cultivating a deep and steady breath into the lower abdomen and completely filling the lungs. If you're going to be practicing the breath of fire with me, we're going to begin here now. So we'll be going for about 30 seconds. We'll do probably 2 rounds. If you feel a little lightheaded after the first round, that can happen. I would just recommend sitting out the second round. So the breath here is going to be a deep inhale, a short inhale, and a forceful exhale using the diaphragm. So if you're not familiar with using the diaphragm, take a practice breath with me here, and it's going to be just you want to feel like you're pulling your navel in and up towards your spine or towards your lungs. So that breath is going to feel like this coming out. Really short and forceful. You should feel the abdomen kind of pulsing slightly with that movement. So we'll do a first round for about 30 seconds, take a pause, and we'll do a second round. All right, so remember, just yourself comes first here in this practice. So if, again, something doesn't feel good or right to you, just return to your normal breathing and maybe lay down, drop the chin to chest, and let your breathing return. All right, so we'll begin here. Rest your hands comfortably on your knees. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that in your space. And now we're going to take a swift breath in through the nose and a swift breath out through the mouth, just like that. So let's begin. And we'll rest from that for a moment. Notice how you feel. If your body is already starting to heat up, good. All right, if that felt like something you'd like to try again, we're going to do a second round. If not, skip it and just continue your deep, steady breathing, cultivating that rhythm. All right, again, if you're comfortable, close the eyes, relax the hands here, and we will begin. Allowing the breath to return to normal, slow and steady. Notice any new sensations coming up in the body through your breath work here. And just acknowledge how you feel without judging anything. And when you're ready, let's begin by opening the eyes, and we'll get into some movement here. We're going to sweep the arms high to the sky, out and up. Reaching up here, slide the shoulder blades down so that you've got a lot of space between the ears and the shoulders. We don't want to be up here. We want to be down here, opening the chest, keeping that spine straight and tall. And we're going to lean to the left side, bring your left hand to the earth, and go ahead and reach high. And we'll slowly bend towards the left. Turn your right palm to face the sky. You've got one facing the earth, one facing the sky. And maybe turn your gaze up towards that hand or towards the sky. Now in this side bend, keep your legs and thighs relaxed. And then we're going to lift up slow and steady. If that was a really deep stretch, take it easy coming out. Reach those arms high to the sky once again. And we're going to bend to the right this time, same as before. Ease into a nice side body stretch here, and then turn your left palm, to face the sky. Relax the legs. And just feel the side body getting a nice deep stretch. Maybe turn to face the sky. And we'll come on out of that stretch. Once again, lift the arms high to the sky. We're going to bend to the left. We're going to spend a little bit less time here. Now, when you get to your side bend, we're going to very carefully twist the abdomen and the shoulders really. So here my shoulders are open towards you. Now you can see I'm kind of bringing this hand down across the front. I'm going to make a nice sweeping movement across the chest and come back to neutral. Again, lift the hands high to the sky. To the right this time. Find a comfortable, deep stretch. And then again, we're going to rotate that shoulder girdle, bringing that arm to be in line with our shoulders. Sweep it across, back to neutral. We're going to go through that flow one more time. Reach the arms high to the sky. Take a side bend. And when you're comfortable, bring that arm level with the shoulders. Sweep it across. Lift high to the sky. To the right again. Find that rotation. And sweep the arm across. Good. From here, we're going to stick the legs straight out in front and bend the knees. Get your feet to be a little bit wider than the hips. Just a little bit. And bring the hands behind. How you place the hands will depend on what's comfortable for you. You've got the option to face the fingers pointing behind you. This is what I guess would be the easiest option. You could rotate those fingers to point left and right. So you can see that's what I'm doing here. This is maybe your middle option. And then a little bit more of a challenge would be to rotate those hands so that your fingers are pointing towards you, towards your glutes. This is going to get us the best chest opening. However, I understand this doesn't work for everybody, so find what works for you. And then we're going to dip those knees down, trying to tap the ground. If you don't touch the ground, no worries, just go to wherever you can. And you might feel a nice deep stretch happening on the front of that shoulder, depending on how your hands are positioned. And we're going to sway to the other side. This is a great opener for the hips and also for the chest. So we're going to stay here for a few breaths, just like we did on the left. And then we're going to move into a little bit of a flow, just going back and forth. Now, as you do this, you probably notice that your glutes want to scoot away from you. Try to maybe just dial it back each time you come around. Maybe engaging that core a little bit can help you with that. Just enjoy the flow here. We're going to do one more on each side. And then come back to neutral. From here, just go ahead and roll into a tabletop position. Get here in whatever way is comfortable for you. And from the tabletop, we're going to go right into a foot stretch. So keep those toes curled underneath here. And this is another pose that you might not go as far as I do. If you already feel a pretty intense stretch into the feet, if you're here, stay here. That's totally fine. If you're able to come all the way up into a... oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the name of this pose right now, excuse me. We're going to come into this pose with our toes curled under. Now, your feet might feel pretty intense right here. Maybe other parts of the legs are kind of feeling it. Keep your core engaged and make sure that that is supporting you. And now we're going to bring those hands to the tailbone, clasping them together. Push them down to the earth so that we can feel an opening of the chest. Send your chin to the sky and just breathe. Now, if your feet are screaming at you, try to breathe through it. I feel it too, feeling the burn. And then we'll release that grip on the hands, walking them all the way forward to release those toes. Go ahead and come into your tabletop position. Feet, tops of the feet flat to the floor so we can find some relief there. And if you like, you can give a little pitter-patter of the feet just to sort of help the blood flow back into those areas. And then we're going to take a little cat-cow. So classic cat-cow, drop the belly, and then lift. Bring breath into here. Inhale as you drop the belly, look to the sky. Exhale, come into your cat pose, arch the spine. Now, as we move through the rest of our practice, if you'd like to seal the lips here for a Ujjayi breath, you can always have that option. This builds a little extra heat inside of the body. It is the breath of victory. So that may help you warm yourself through this practice. And then let's break out of our classic cat-cow. We're going to do a little side-to-side motion here, getting into those side body a little bit more. All right, stretch the, let's go left leg first. Stretch that left leg behind you and curl those toes under. You should feel calf and hamstrings possibly stretching here. Give a little bit of a rock back and forth. Good. Now we're going to slide the left leg over to the right side. Now my foot is coming all the way off the mat on the right side, and it's crossing the body. Now the toes are still curled under, still planted. I'm going to look towards that left foot over my right shoulder. And you may feel a nice stretch here on the left side body. If you don't feel a stretch, maybe move that foot just a little bit more to the right side and make sure you're getting fully supported here with the hands. Elbows are not locked. Good. Now we're going to swing that leg back to neutral. Keep it high and bend the knee. So we're coming into a little tiger's pose here. The challenge is to keep your abdomen, your navel engaged, pulling in and up. Keep those hands firm. Elbows are slightly bent here. And then we're just going to stretch that leg out and bring it down. Repeat on the other side. Reach that right leg. Curl the toes under. Give a little push, a little rock to stretch into that hamstring and calf. Now slide your right leg over to the left this time, coming across the body. Mine is all the way off the mat. And then look towards that leg. Maybe bump those hips a tiny bit to the right, getting a little more into the stretch. And then we'll swing it back to neutral. Keep it lifted. Come into your tiger's pose. Again, engage that core. Check those arms and hands. And we'll bring it on down. All right, we're going to come into down dog. Lift those hips high. In this posture, I want you to lift those heels, bend the knees as much as you need to. Feet and hands should be about hip width apart, maybe wider, or hands should be shoulder width apart, maybe wider. Feet will be hip width apart. Check those elbows, check those hands. Hands, when they are supporting you, should be firmly placed. Elbows are not locked. We melt the heart to the earth and we lift the hips high. Maybe pedal out the ankles. You can maybe hear my creaky ankles going here. If that's the case for you, just give it a little movement. Get those creaks out. And from here, I'd like to encourage you to give a little hop to the front of the top of the mat. If you are not feeling super great with the hopping, maybe a tiny baby hop, just a couple inches. And then you can maybe work your way to the top like that. If you love to hop, go ahead and give it a go. Coming all the way to the top. From here, we're going to halfway lift. So in your halfway lift, remember you've got options. You can be here, hands on the thighs. You could be here, hands on the shins, never on the knees. Or you could be here with those hands on the earth, as long as that spine can straighten. And then fold it down. Give a little ragdoll here, maybe grasping opposite elbows. I love a little bounce in this movement. It really decompresses my spine. Maybe a little sway feels good for you. And then we're going to come back to neutral, bend the knees, root to rise, meaning that we really want to pull this up from the legs, unfurling the spine. hands to the sky. Go ahead and bring those arms all the way down to your sides. We're going to spend just a moment here as we have warmed up the body a little bit, opening our practice, and we're going to set an intention for the season or for this practice. You choose what your intention is for. And I'd like to think back to those notes from the beginning of practice. So Sagittarius is a fire sign, which generally means intensity, heat. It is also the spark of creativity, right? So these are some things that you can consider. And with this season, Sagittarius is a seeker. As I said, a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of freedom, and an optimist at its core. So think about what you'd like to bring more of into your day, into your life, into your season here. And set an intention for this practice. Setting intentions is the first step, and by doing so, consider it already in motion. When you're ready, bend the knees gently for a root to rise. Bring the hands to the sky. Take a tiny, tiny back bend here, and what this will feel like is your spine should come to a nice straight. Those hips are going to be lifting a little bit. Tailbone pushes down a little bit. And then we're just going to bring those arms together and behind the head. Really doesn't need to be much of a back bend here. In fact, I encourage you to take it easy. And then exhale slow and steady. We're going to fold it to the earth. Halfway lift. Come on down for your first vinyasa. Now, if you know your flow, go ahead and take it. If you want to go easy or you're still learning, then we're going to lower all the way to the earth. We're going to come into a cobra here, baby cobra. The thighs and the feet push down. The hands are just here for a little support, but they're not weight bearing. You should be able to lift the hands. This is all spine. This is all core work here. And go ahead and release that baby cobra. Put your hands under your shoulders. Push all the way up. And we'll find our tabletop again. We're going to stretch out this left leg. Find a little lift. And we're going to just swing it on forward. Now we're in a little lunging position here. We're going to lift up into a kneeling warrior one. In your pose, please remember knee and ankle are stacked in line. They can be slightly, the knee can be slightly back, but should never ever be forward like this. So check your posture if you've got your knee pushing really far forward of your foot. And come into a comfortable pose. You don't have to be super stretched out right here. You don't have to do that. Remember, you could just be here. And that's totally fine. You're doing it. So in your warrior one, we're going to lower the arms to be in front of us. We're just going to sweep the right arm behind. Sweep it down and forward. Sweep the left arm behind. Down and forward. Sweep it again to the right and back. Down and forward. And again to the left and down. One more time on each side, to the right and down, to the left and down. Beautiful. Lift those arms high to the sky again. And we're going to lower the hands to the earth. Okay, from here, we're going to get into a move that may be a little tricky for some. I encourage you, if your knees feel uncomfortable in a lot of these kneeling poses, always have the option to bring a little extra padding under that knee, whether it be a towel, a sock, maybe you just literally just roll your mat up like this and you pad the knee extra, whatever you need. But from here, we're going to see if we can bend that rear knee. All right, now this might be a pretty big challenge for some of you already. If this feels crazy, give yourself some support by putting a block or a bolster or a chair, or maybe even just leaning your foot up against the wall to support that rear foot, if you don't feel like you can do it by yourself. Now, if you think you got this, see if you can come up off the hands, keeping that knee bent. And then, if you feel like you really got this, see if you can grab onto that ankle. See if you can grab both hands onto that ankle. This is a little bit of a challenge for me. I'm not able to really get that other hand back there, but I'm still kind of working on opening the chest. Okay, we're going to come out of this really slow and steady. Keep that knee bent. Bring those hands down first, then go ahead and bring that knee down. From here, we're going to move right into a little bit of a hip opener. So I'm going to come into like my lizard pose here. I'm pushing my left foot out so it's off the mat now, and now I can open up this knee towards my left knee towards the left side. Right hand is supporting, maybe that left arm goes high. Maybe you keep it on that knee for a little extra support. Good, we're gonna bring this back to tabletop, step it on back, nothing fancy. And then from here, we're gonna move right into a vinyasa. So, come into plank. Now you can be kneeling if you want to. This is also fine. Come into your plank. Maybe this time you go halfway down. If you go all the way, that's fine too. Find your up dog or your cobra like we practiced before. And then find your down dog. From here, we'll go back to tabletop. We're going to switch sides, stretch out that right leg, give it a lift. Step it on forward. Come into your kneeling warrior one. Find the pose that works for you here. Remember that core is engaged. It is our pillar of support, and it's always driving our motions. And we're going to go through a little flow just like we did on the other side. So bring those hands down in front. Sweep that left arm open and down. Right arm comes open and sweeps down. We're going to do a total of 3 of these on each side. Last round here. Sweep those arms high to the sky. Bring it on down, hands to the earth. Now remember, each side of the body may feel different. So if you don't get the same motion on this side as the other side, that's totally fine. Just meet yourself where you are. Again, pad that knee however much you need to, and then see if you can bend that knee. Stay here for a moment. Breathe. Really stretching out this quad here. Now see if you're able to lift up. Once again, this side might be different. If you are able to lift up, maybe you can grasp that ankle. Maybe you can try to reach back with the other arm. I definitely am not getting it on this side. Keep the breath coming. And then nice and easy, we're going to lower the hands first. Support yourself as you bring that knee down. And then go right into your lizard pose. Walk this right foot off of the mat. We're going to push this knee to open up this hip. All right, nice and easy. We're going to lift the hips, come out of that stretch, and step it on back for our tabletop. Let's go into our vinyasa. We're going to be doing more of these than perhaps in a normal video of mine, just to really tap into that fire energy. And if you find it becomes too much for you, there's no shame in skipping. There's many days when I don't do these kinds of practices, and I keep it very gentle. All right, from here, go ahead and practice your hopping or give one nice big hop. Now, when you hop, you should take a deep breath and hop at the bottom of your exhale so that your exhalation supports the movement of the body. So you get a little extra motion there. So bend the knees and hop. From here, we're going to halfway lift. Fold it again. Bend the knees, root to rise, mountain pose. And bring those hands all the way down. All right, we'll start with the left leg again. Coming into a nice, simple, one-legged balance here. Now, if you're still working on balance, you can try to keep that foot down. Or maybe you grab something to hold on to. Maybe you put your arm on the wall. Props are here to help you move forward. And then if you're able to, we're going to grab onto that rear ankle. If you're not able to actually grab onto it, see if you can just keep that leg lifted. Challenge yourself here to just do a little balance. If you are able to grab onto that ankle, we're getting into a very early stages of a dancer's pose. So we're continuing to open up this hip and the quad on this left side. If you're able to, maybe you can pull that foot all the way in towards your glutes. If not, that's all good. Then from here, we're going to let that leg go. See if you can not touch the ground and just swing that leg. Once again, no shame in using props here, folks. See how much you can get that swing going. And then we're going to step it on back into a warrior two. So we're going to line up the heel of the front foot with the arch of the rear foot. This rear foot is at pointing at 10 o'clock. If this is my noon, my 12, this is my 10. These thighs are squeezing towards each other to really engage those muscles. Glutes are working here. This is all in the legs. Core is going. Reach out those arms. And then we're going to sweep that left arm forward. Draw it across the body. Imagine maybe you're drawing a bowstring. The Sagittarius symbol is the archer, often depicted as a centaur. So maybe invoke that imagery here as we sweep it across again. And a third time, sweep it across. Good. From here, the challenge is to see if you can get a little movement from this rear leg and see if you can step it up to the top and keep your balance. Good work. Go ahead and put that leg down. If you need to, maybe do a little walking out of the feet. And then we're going to reach high to the sky. Go ahead and take a vinyasa flow, or you can always skip it. Once again, make your way to the top. Halfway lift, fold. Root to rise, come all the way up, mountain pose. And exhale, hands to the sides. All right, this time we're gonna lift this right leg high. Well, that doesn't have to be that high, we're just gonna lift. See if you can find your balance. From here, see if you can grab onto that ankle. Pull that leg in as much as you are able to and find your balance. Engage the core here if you're really struggling. Bring a slight bend into the supporting leg and find one point to fix your gaze upon. Good. From here, we're going to gently let go of that leg. See if we can stay balanced and swing. If you lose your balance, if you fall and stumble, that's part of the journey. And then step it on back. Warrior two. Again, check those legs, check those feet. Turn on those thighs, turn on those glutes, and then reach those arms forward. Just like before, sweep that arm forward, draw it across the chest. 2 more times just like that, forward and draw. Good. From here, again, see if you can challenge yourself to push off from this rear foot and come into one leg standing balance. Good. Step it down. If you need to, pedal out those feet. Take a vinyasa or skip it. Okay, from here, we're going to make our way back to the top of the mat. So you can hop, halfway lift, bend the knees, root to rise, and bring those arms down. All right, at the top of the mat here, bend the knees, bring those arms all the way back up. Now remember what we talked about earlier, keeping these shoulders really open. When we're reaching up overhead, we don't want to crunch everything in general. We want to open the chest, keep those shoulders down. I think a lot of folks get kind of hunched in the shoulders throughout their day-to-day. So this is going to counter that, drawing the shoulders down, allowing the neck to lengthen. In this reaching position, I want you to bring those feet either hip width or together, whatever feels good. For me, it's hip width when I go into a chair pose, which is what we're doing. So hip width or together or something in between. And then we're going to bring in a little bit of that exhale that we did earlier. It's not quite the same, but I want you to think about exhaling a little more forcefully and with some heat. Okay, so we're going to exhale out the mouth. If you've been cultivating your Wu-Jai breath, you can go ahead and break that for a moment and then return to it later. All right, here, deep breath, deep exhale, and chair pose. We're going to do 3 of those. So that was just practice. There's 1 for practice. Good. Reach those arms high. And then exhale, let them down. All right, again, we're going to lift this left leg. Come into your dancer's pose. Sort of easy dancer's pose. And then I'm going to challenge you again to flow through this next movement without putting the leg down. We're going to stretch it out in front, not putting the leg down, and then we're just going to step right back into a warrior 2. You were here before, you should know this feeling now. Reverse that warrior here, legs don't change, just the arms. And then exhale, come into an extended side angle. Our right arm is just here resting. It is not weight bearing. The core is doing that. The legs are doing that. Good. Back to your warrior 2. Just like before, see if you can push off with this left leg, coming into a one-legged balance pose. Now from here, get into this position, grab this ankle, excuse me. I would like to also offer this for you, is that if you cannot make this grab, find a strap, a tie, a belt, something that you can use to hold this leg up. That's how you get further using props to help your practice. From here, we're going to bow forward into a dancer's pose. I like to grab the inner foot so I can open up the shoulder a little more. And we're just going to bow. Use your core and push that leg up into your hand. Find lift. Beautiful. Return to neutral, slow and steady. Let it down. Take a break here. Either flow through your vinyasa or just give it a rest. Hop to the top. Halfway lift. Bend the knees, root to rise. Mountain pose. Just like before, reach those arms high. We're going to do 3 chair flows with exhalation. So, deep breath. Good, come all the way up. Hands to the side. Lift that right leg. Go ahead and grab hold behind. And then release that leg in front. See if you can get it there without touching the ground. Take a moment here. Balance. Step it on back to your warrior 2. Find your posture, find that positioning. Reverse your warrior. Good. From here, find your extended side angle. Bring it on back, warrior 2. Once again, launch off with that rear foot. See if you can find balance on the left. Grab onto the inner edge of that right foot. Reach that left arm forward. Bow into your dancer pose. Core is engaged. Left knee is slightly bent. Push your right leg into your hand to find lift. Good. Slow and steady release. Root to rise. And flow through a vinyasa or skip it. We are going to end our vinyasa a little bit differently this time. We're going to come into our down dog as normal. And then we're going to bend the knees. And we're just going to lower all the way back down to the earth. Bring those hands out and bring those hands to be stacked on top of each other. And we're going to do a little crocodile pose. The forehead is going to rest on those hands. We're going to bend the knees. And we're just going to sway those feet a little bit here. So some of the back bending that you have done today, maybe you're feeling it a little bit, hopefully nothing painful. But for me, they can be kind of a challenge to get that movement. So this is a really nice way to release some tension that's maybe coming into the low spine. Good. Rest those legs back to the earth and get those hands out in front of you, kind of forming a Y position. Get those legs out in front of you so your body is almost like an X if you were looking at it from above. And we're going to do a little movement that you might find familiar. We're going to lift the left leg and the right arm. So we're sort of opposing here. And the opposite, right leg, left arm. All right, let's do a few of those. Lift and down. Inhale and exhale. Go ahead, do one more each side. Now from here, we're going to prepare ourselves for a bow pose. If you don't know what that is, no worries. We're going to just bend the knees and find a little lift while we lift the arms. Okay, now we're going to rest. And again, lift the arms, lift the knees, lift the legs and bend. And rest. And I should preface this, by saying if this hurts your back or your hips or just hurts you in general, don't do it. If it feels somewhat uncomfortable, like your muscles are shaking, then that is just you building more strength. So make sure you know the difference. Now, hopefully you've done that a few times on your own, and we're going to prepare for that full bow pose. Now, bend the knees, grab on to either ankle. If this is all you can do and you're already really feeling a struggle here, maybe you just work on this motion. For the rest of us, I want those shoulders to be lifted. The neck, head is also lifted. Okay, shoulders are rolling back. Now we're going to lift lift the thighs, and you're going to push the feet into the hands, and we're going to push to the sky. Now go as high as you can. That feels okay for your body. Breathe here. Support the head and the neck. Use your core. You are balancing on your core here. And then we're going to exhale to release. Keep those knees bent. Bring those hands back underneath of the forehead. Go ahead and give a little rock with those legs, back and forth. Put those hands under the shoulder blades, curl those toes, or actually don't curl those toes under. We're going to push up and go into a child's pose. So basically we went from a back bend to now a forward bend. So take it easy on this child's pose if you find your spine is a little sticky or tight here from some of the back bending. which is the case for me. So if you're feeling that, that can happen. It's all good. We're just going to come into that child's pose here. Take a few breaths. We're going to lift back into our tabletop. Lift that left leg straight out and behind you. And step it forward just like we did before. This time, I want you to slide your right knee back a little. Slide your left leg forward. Now we're getting into what is a practice for splits, where, don't freak out, I can't do splits. Maybe you can't either, that's fine. We're gonna lift the toes, get that heel on the ground, and we're just gonna see how far we can go. Your hands are really helping to support you here, so that you don't like slide too far into this position. And if this is for some reason not feeling good, this doesn't work for you, that's okay. You can take a traditional hamstring stretch by just stretching out behind you. However, if you are able to and you want to go a little deeper, get into this splits prep, and then those toes, try to point them forward, flex them back, forward and back. We're just going to move through that a little bit. Now from here, we're going to release this a little bit by sliding that ankle back. And I'm going to bend the knee, slide this foot under, and we're going to come right into a pigeon pose. So what's happening here is my knee is bent. My foot is trying to point to that right side. And my right leg is nice and long behind. Now for pigeon, you've got lots of options. I really love this version of the pigeon where I am lifting my front body. Some folks really dig coming on down here and forward folding. You decide, of course, as always, what you like. And then we're going to roll onto that left hip as far as you need to so that you can swing your right leg in front. Keep that left knee bent how it is, putting that foot onto the inner thigh. Lift the arms high. And we're going to fold towards this outreached leg. So in this fold, I want you to gently tuck your tailbone under just a little bit. Keep that spine nice and straight. And then eventually you'll round down, relaxing the shoulders and head. Walk your hands to come back upright. We're going to lift this bent leg, cross the foot over, grip the knee with the crook of the arm. Some people really like to hook here. I don't. I like to grip. You decide what you like. Reach the left arm high to the sky, and then swing it all the way back. The spine is straight and supported here. And we're not crunching through this. We're really just using our core and our gentle movement to find this twist. Release your grip. And we're going to come back into a tabletop position. This time the right leg, you can either come into a traditional hamstring stretch like this, or you can go into that deeper version getting into the splits prep pose here. Now remember, the hands are really helping you. If this is a struggle for you, you can even bring your hands up onto some blocks, a can of beans, a book, whatever works for you. Go ahead and point and flex that toe, the foots, a little bit here. And then we can slide that leg back a little bit. We're coming up on the hips, onto the knee. Bend that leg. Point that foot towards the left side, and we're coming into our pigeon pose, or half pigeon. And I encourage everyone to just begin here, and then you can find your way into this a little bit deeper. Roll onto that right hip as far as you need to. Swing that left leg forward. And we'll repeat here. Reaching to the sky. Fold it forward. Tuck that tailbone gently. Reach out that spine and just relax. Walk your hands back upright. Come into your twist position with that knee. Find your grip and then reach up and over. We'll release that grip, stretch out both legs, bring those feet together, and just come into a little butterfly stretch. You can zip up these legs really close to the body if you want to. You can have them way out here, whatever works. Keep a nice straight spine. Gently tuck that tailbone under as you start to roll. And we'll fold it down. Good. Go ahead and use your arms, your hands to help lift you up here. We're going to roll gently all the way onto our backs. Give a little side to side motion here. Hugging the knees, rocking and massaging maybe the glutes, maybe
You feel that on the muscles around the hips. And we're going to come into a happy baby pose. So I like to start this bringing the feet together, grab onto the outer edges of the feet. Make sure your elbows are on the inner leg here and kind of touching your calf. And then point those bottoms of your feet, the soles of your feet to the sky. Let the legs be heavy. Let those hips drop open. And if it feels good here, also do a little rocking left to right. And then when you're finished with that movement, go ahead and bring those knees to chest. Wrap your arms all the way around those knees as best you can. And we're going to bring the chin into the chest, and we're going to squeeze ourselves into a tiny little ball. Take a moment here, take a deep breath, feel the belly, the abdomen expanding into the legs, the thighs. And then exhale that deep breath, slow and steady. Unfurl the body. Stretch out nice and long. And we'll come into Savasana. Squeeze the shoulder blades under the body. Tuck the chin gently. Relax the hips. Take a few deep, steady breaths here and just let your breathing return to normal. Allow the body to relax. Notice if you're clenching any muscles in the face, in the jaw, in the neck, and shoulders. Just relax. Relax the arms and the hands. Relax the hip muscles, the abdomen, the thighs. And finally, release the feet. If any thoughts are coming into the mind, try to just gently push them away. Anything important will come back to you, and anything not important we can leave. As always, stay here as long as you like. If you're ready, gently open the eyes. Begin bringing movement into the fingers and the toes. I like to roll the legs and the arms. Maybe a full body stretch. If you're feeling up for it, I encourage you to bring the knees into the chest and do a little rocking so that we can come up to a seat. If that does not work for you, find an alternative way. From here, come into a strong, upright, seated position, just how we began our practice. Stacking the vertebrae here, one atop the other, lining up the hips, the heart, and the head. And then we'll reach those arms high to the sky, cultivating and gathering the energies that you've created, the intentions that you set here, and bringing that into heart. We will end our practice here with 1 Om and 3 chants of Shanti. Om is the primordial sound of the universe. It is also the tone that aligns all chakras. Shanti is a Sanskrit word for peace. And this is how I will leave you. Deep breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice for Sagittarius season. I hope that it helps alight your creative spark and helps you find what you seek. Thank you, my friends.